At the beginning of the 19th century, the bartender's kit was very simple. He'd have a knife, he'd have a glass, he'd have a toddy stick, which is just, as you see, a muddler to use to break up the sugar chunks and stir up the drinks. All very easy if you're not using ice. Once you use ice, things start to get a little more complicated. The sugar doesn't melt so well, so you have to make syrups and stuff. And you'll replace the toddy stick with a bar spoon, a nice long twisted handle thing. There's several grips that they used. Spin it around like that. Or the most spectacular way of mixing a drink was to take 2 tumblers and toss the drink back and forth like that, or over your head. I haven't tried this myself. Well, I have tried it, and I've ended up wearing the drink every time. So I'm expecting the young generation of bartender to really come up with the secret to this. It's very complicated and fun. Once you've got the drink in the glass, you need to strain it. The earliest kind of strainer was a sugar sifter that they would use to shift sugar onto berries, and it would just ride in the glass like that. But it was a little small, it didn't fit well. So they came up with a slightly better version, which we recognize as a julep strainer. Of course, as everyone knows, you don't strain a mint julep, so it's a weird name, but it would fit perfectly in there, and you could pour out and retain the ice. But bar technology marched on. One of the things they did is they found a tin container to fit on top. And this is around 1840, making the modern cocktail shaker. This enables you to put a lot more energy in the drink, in the mixing, to break up eggs and to pound up little bits of fruit and things like that. But if you're pouring out of this, you need a bigger strainer. So the Hawthorne strainer is introduced in the 1890s, and it's simply a wire spring that will fit to the container around a disc. It's called Hawthorne because it says Hawthorne in the middle of the original ones. Cocktail technology didn't stop there. The shakers got more elaborate. They took the simple glass and tin, made it out of silver, made them fit tightly, and make this piece of this beautiful piece of barware. This is an English one from around 1890. Works very well. It's a little hard to get it open sometimes. Also, you still need a strainer for that. So we have the 3-piece shaker pretty much as we know it now. It's got the cap for pouring. Sometimes these stick too. The strainer in the top, and finally the tin. Of course, this is a lot of pieces to lose, so bartenders don't usually use these. A sign of how bad things got with mixology is this shaker from the 1940s. Beautiful piece of aircraft aluminum with a heavily machined pouring thing on top, built-in strainer, all very nice. The problem is if you make a sour with aluminum, it tastes like aluminum, so it is in fact useless. That's how bad mixology got. A couple other tools that to show here. Juicers. The earliest kind was made out of wood. It looks kind of silly, very old-fashioned, but it does work. Then they made them out of wood, cast iron, and porcelain. Very elaborate, weighs about 5 pounds. Useful for dealing with unruly customers as a backup. Speaking of unruly customers, there are some ice tools also that we have here. This is for making fine ice for juleps and things like that. You fill the bag with chunks of ice and you massacre it with your maul, and suddenly you have snow ice that will pack a glass and frost the outside, and it's very effective. You can also use a swizzle stick. These are from the Caribbean, like that. These have been used for at least 200 years, and that will also help you to frost up the outside of the glass. And that's the antique tools.